Okay, so today we have a great opportunity to talk with Haley Campbell from Advanced Diabetes Group. Haley is someone that I've had a chance to work with closely over the last couple of weeks. I know I met you, Haley, probably like 6 months ago, maybe 4 months ago at an event. And I had met you a while back or was introduced to your group a while back through Medicare Con, I believe. And, just really impressed with what you guys do, and in particular, obviously the help I know you've been able to provide clients of our group. But I wanted to have you on because this is an area where there's just so much confusion, and it's an area where the people really get frustrated and confused and don't know how to have access to some of these things. And you kind of make that really simple for people, which I think is great. But why don't we start with just tell us a little bit about you, Haley?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the great introduction. I have been working here at Advanced Diabetes Supply Group for about 3.5 years now. Kind of honestly stumbled into this role, but I have found myself just loving every second of the work that I get to do here in helping Medicare beneficiaries get connected to the supplies that they need. And you're right that these items are so confusing when it comes to the billing of Medicare for diabetes supplies, insulin, whatever it is that they need, that it's literally created a full-time job for myself and 25 other people here at this pharmacy that just do directly that working. And we need more of us in our department. We're trying to grow every day. We went from a department of 1 to 6 to now 25, right? And the demand is not going anywhere. The rate of diabetes is on the rise, unfortunately, and everybody needs their supplies. And unfortunately, a lot of local pharmacies aren't able to dispense these items. They don't know how to bill for them. Our seniors and Medicare beneficiaries need them. And that's what I do. And I love it. It's great. It's this awesome job where I get to help people get exactly what they need. No one has to pay anything if I'm doing my job right. And everyone turns out for the better in the end. So yeah, I love what I do here.
Well, you just hit on one thing. Whenever someone can find out they don't have to pay for something, they're gonna like you. So that's
Exactly.
definitely a good part. Now, work
Exactly.
for you working with seniors directly. And again, I know you also help agents and agencies
Mhm.
on the Medicare and insurance related side, but working with seniors, what are some of the biggest concerns that they're sharing with you when they call you on the phone or when you call them on the phone?
Yeah, I would say number one would be cost, right? I mean, most of our Medicare beneficiaries, including from personal experience, my grandmother has diabetes. She's a Medicare beneficiary living on a fixed monthly income. Cost of supplies is huge. And when you're talking about something as simple as a meter and strips, the most basic way to check your blood sugar, if you're paying a cash price for that, it can sometimes be upwards of $150 just for your monthly supply of strips. And a lot of people have been paying that, or maybe they're getting the cheaper Rely On brand from Walmart, not aware that it's covered under their insurance. But cost is the biggest thing. I get that first question every time I call someone after an agent asks, "Hey, can you call Miss Smith? She's been paying X, Y, or Z for these supplies at her local pharmacy." I call them and we do our quick little intake call to get the process started. And the first question is, what is this going to cost me? And I always say, if I'm doing my job right, nothing. We don't want you to have to pay anything, but I'm the person who knows how to do this correctly, and we'll make sure that we get you connected to what you're looking for and ensure that it's covered under your plan. So cost is the biggest thing. And then also confusion around the donut hole, the coverage gap. Are these supplies, okay, I'm getting them through insurance now, but is that going to mean that I'm going to go in the donut hole faster? No, it's not. These are Part B supplies. They're medical supplies. They have nothing to do with the coverage gap. You're entitled to these. They're not going to affect anything. Let's get these covered for you through your plan. So yeah, cost I would say is the biggest concern, and then the coverage gap as well.
Wow, and you use a couple of the really big buzzwords out there, the confusion and cost,
Yeah.
I constantly hear from people, there was a bill and this bill was introduced and I was told I'm only going to pay $35. Can you maybe share some insight on, from your perspective or, and I know it really is most of the stuff we're talking about that's not insulin, but maybe if you can share some insight on, because I'm sure you've had that, right? Or people have called you and said, why am I getting hit with this cost? Why would I have to pay this? Didn't this get approved for seniors and it's zero or $35?
Absolutely, yeah. So January 1st of 2023, the Inflation Reduction Act went into effect, which capped the cost of formulary insulin for carriers at $35 a month, which is amazing. We're so excited about this, but with new regulations and policies that go into effect comes some confusion, especially when it comes to injectables that maybe aren't insulin. So ones like Victoza, Trulicity, Ozempic, those injections that you take once a week that a lot of people think are insulin, that doctors even sometimes refer to as insulin, that are actually classified as a non-insulin injectable. So those items are not capped at the $35, unfortunately. I mean, our pharmacy would love to see those items capped
Yeah.
as well, because they're expensive. They're typically a tier 3. I get calls about them every day. They're confusing. They say, well, I thought my insulin was capped at $35. How come my Ozempic is this much? And it's because it's not insulin, unfortunately. And another thing that comes along with that is while the cost of insulin is capped at $35, the cost of the needles that you need to inject the insulin is not. And those are also typically a pretty high copay for those as well if you obtain them through insurance. Little nugget for your listeners though as well. Little thing that you can do if you're experiencing a high cost for those needles, number one is call me, because we do offer extra assistance for those needles through our pharmacy. But number two is you can also get those at a cash price, not through your insurance plan, and it'll cut the cost by sometimes a fifth, sometimes a third. So that's also an option that is available to you that a lot of people don't know that is. You can even order them on Amazon, believe it or not. So it's something that you can definitely cut costs on. But yeah, needles and those non-insulin injectables are not capped at the $35. So if you need assistance, I urge your clients, call me. I can definitely offer some assistance on any of those products. Okay.
Yeah, no, and I just learned something too. I didn't realize that you could, and it's almost like the good RX,
Mhm.
where, people don't realize depending on the medication that you're taking, you might be able to get that yourself and, not have to pay nearly what you're paying through your insurance, which sounds weird. Just
It
like it sounds
does.
weird that you can get the needles for less money from not from your insurance, but we can spend all the time we want on Amazon. You can
Yeah.
buy a small house on Amazon now and just you can live in it. So you
Yeah.
can literally get anything you want on Amazon, which is great. So you hit on one of the big questions that I wanted to make sure we talked about because when I look at working with people, whether it's agents and other uh, people in the industry, whether it's attorneys or CPAs or, I work with a lot of social workers and home healthcare agencies. I always look at how do we help the customer and how do we get the customer the best assistance? And, having the ability to work with someone like you directly is big for me because I know how wonderful you are. I'm not just
No, thank
pumping you up
you.
for the broadcast, but
I appreciate it.
you know your stuff. And it is something where just like me, when I help many clients, it doesn't cost them anything for me. What ends up happening is you guys are handling that through insurance companies or whatnot, and you guys are getting compensated. They just don't
Yeah.
have to pay for that service, and that's a pretty good option. So, tell me how maybe the best ways that people can kind of get a hold of you. If you want to, throw out your email, your phone number on here.
Yeah.
I'll put it on as well after the recording.
Perfect. Yeah. So my direct number here is actually 760-330-0049. That's my direct cell phone number, right? When you're looking for supplies like this, how many times do you get someone's direct cell phone number, right? To call. So
Not often.
you can call me, text me anytime. People always say, well, how do you handle the influx of calls? And like most of the time, I only need to talk to you one time. Our team here is so great, especially our Medicare Advantage department. I do the first call if they do call me, and I have an amazing team of people that work to support getting accounts shipped out the door and then following up with you for your reorders. But also another great thing is if anything does ever go wrong or there's a hiccup, you can also call me directly at any point down the line as well, which is super helpful. My email address, if you'd like to reach me via email, is going to be H as in Haley, and then Campbell, like the soup. So CAMPBELL, and then at northcoastmed.com. campbell.com. And if you would provide that too with the recording, that'd be super helpful. But yeah, you can call me, text me, email me if you're interested in finding out if you can get these supplies covered under your plan. I know you can. Give me a call and we'll do some digging, figure out what we can get covered. And also continuous glucose monitors are a big one. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. But if you don't want to prick your finger anymore, that is absolutely a covered item by Medicare. And most people I talk to are under the impression that it's not covered, which is not true. So we can facilitate getting you connected to that as well.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because one of the things that I use the word hate loosely, but it's like you and I as consumers. You're watching TV and all of a sudden there's this commercial on for a medication, and you're like, oh yeah, I could use that, or that sounds
Yeah.
good for me. This is the one that I keep seeing, and I don't know which one of the Jonas Brothers
Yes. Yeah.
is out there promoting it, but
Yeah.
I consistently get that question from clients, and I know there's some resistance trying to find out, can they get it? And I think a lot assume they can't, or being told they can't get it. So this is another opportunity to reach out to you to get some help coordinating those benefits. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's so many different moving parts when it comes to Medicare and the billing and dispensing of this specific supply. What oftentimes happens is you see the commercial on TV. I swear the day after Super Bowl Sunday this year, my phone, I came into like 30 messages because everyone had seen that commercial with the Jonas brother, called their agent, and then their agent called me. But you go to your doctor, you express interest, your doctor, they say, yeah, this sounds like a great idea. I'm going to send this prescription to your local pharmacy. You go in to pick it up at your local pharmacy, and a couple different things can happen. One, the pharmacy is not contracted to bill the correct part of Medicare, which is the case most of the time. So Part B of Medicare, not all pharmacies are contracted to bill Part B.
Okay.
And then also, a lot of times the pharmacy, say they are contracted to bill Part B, they might then get a notification that a prior authorization is needed, which is true. So then the pharmacy will contact the doctor's office and notify the doctor, hey, we need a prior authorization for this device. The doctor's office will then 9 times out of 10 try to file the prior authorization through the wrong part of Medicare, through Part D, and it gets denied. So then the doctor calls the pharmacy, tells them it was denied. The pharmacy tells the beneficiary the prior authorization was denied. The beneficiary is upset because why was it denied? I don't understand. Then they call their agent. Their agent then calls me, and then I call the doctor's office. I ask them to read me the prior authorization, and it clearly states this is not a Part D benefit, prior authorization denied. No one looks into it further. That's just how the cards fall most of the time. So there's so many different things that can happen. Or the pharmacist themselves tries to run the device through Part D of Medicare, and they get a rejection and tell the beneficiary it's not covered, which isn't true. It's a Part B benefit. They just don't know any better. They're great with Part D items, drugs. That's what our local pharmacies are meant for. But Medicare has essentially structured things so these devices have to be obtained through a specialized provider, which is what I do. So we'll facilitate all of that. We'll make sure the prior authorization is taken care of, and it's absolutely a covered benefit. You just have to meet some parameters the guideline has that Medicare has set forth. So if you're interested in finding out if you do qualify, just give me a call and we can go over it.
Yeah, and I was smiling when you said that because you hit all those points, and I know a lot about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
As a consumer, and I've had some, I don't want to say issues because it's the wrong thing to say, but there's a lot of challenges going on with pharmacies and staffing issues and some of those other things, and like you kind of hit on it, is I always tell people when I talk to them is Medicare is a foreign language. I've been doing it for 24 years. It's like working with a carpenter. I can probably frame out a window. It's not going to look very good.
Yeah.
But, someone that's been doing it, every day, day in and day out, they do it perfectly because they've had that training and that knowledge, and they're able to kind of work through. And, one of the points you hit on, I know, when we broadcast these things, a lot of times there are agents, Medicare agents that, listen to these broadcasts, and, maybe talk a little bit about, and you touched on it. So maybe if you can talk a little bit about, how agents can get in touch with you. You already said text and email and whatnot, but if I understand it correctly, I know I just called you on the phone and I kind of said, I have this person, can you reach out to them? and work with them, or can they reach out to you? So do you have a preference of agents sending people to you, or would you rather talk to the agent first, make a connection with the agent?
Yeah, absolutely. I always love to establish the connection with the insurance agent first, because that's crucial. That's the whole what I do, is working directly with Medicare agents to make sure we get their clients connected to what they need to make sure that they stay happy with the benefits that they've gone on and have personally chosen alongside their agent, because it fits what's best for them, right? So I love getting connected to agents. Once we have our first chat, I'll get you in my system. Anytime that you come across a client that has diabetes, whether it's type 1, type 2, pre-diabetes, whatever it may be, they are going to need some assistance in getting the supplies that they need. So once you've spoken with that client and you let them know, hey, these types of things are really confusing when it comes to Medicare. Do you currently pay for your supplies? It's always going to be a yes. Or if they don't, somehow they have found a pharmacy that's contracted to bill Medicare, they've been obtaining the formulary meter, whatever it is, there are still things that can go wrong once they go on that new plan, and we want to help avoid that.
Okay.
So once you've confirmed with your client that they're okay with us getting connected, you can do it whatever works best, or what your client has given you permission to do. You can call me and ask me to call them once they've given the okay. You can send me their contact information. I can reach out to them. Again, they need to give permission. We want to stay compliant here. But once they have given the go ahead, we'll reach out. We will take care of all the paperwork from the doctor's office. If they are currently paying for their supplies or their meter's broken, we'll send them samples to hold them over until we get everything taken care of on our side, which is huge. No cost to your client, no cost to you as the Medicare beneficiary. It's something we're more than happy to do. So we will go ahead and send out those samples, make sure that you're all set until we have the paperwork. But really, whatever your client's comfortable with and you're comfortable with as the agent, you can do. Have them call me, have me call them, whatever works best. We just want to make sure we get them taken care of. Sometimes if we leave it in the hands of the beneficiary is all good, I'm super excited about this, I'll call her. They typically forget, and then they go to their local pharmacy and they run into the issues, and then we're kind of running defense at that point, right? We have to go in and fix an issue instead of making sure that the issue never comes across their plate. So it's totally up to you, but just make sure the beneficiary knows, call Haley and there will not be any issues. So yeah, any way works for me. Call, text, email. I am a-okay with it.
Awesome. I kind of, wanted to ask that question because, again, I've been doing this a long time, and I think
Yeah.
some people have some tunnel vision, whether it be clients or agents. And it really sounds like, to me, I talk to my folks here, and when I meet with clients that have it now and moving forward, it's really, I kind of call it a concierge service.
Exactly. Yeah. We like to call it a white glove, red carpet experience, right? That personal detail. They have someone they can call directly if they need anything, almost like an extension of the insurance agent that's here to act as an advocate to get them connected to what they need. So yeah, we always say that term, white glove, red carpet. That's what we're looking to do for your clients.
I'm glad you kind of mentioned that, because to me, why people want to work with an independent agent, like versus a captive agent or an 800 number with any of the carriers. And I'm not knocking the carriers, God bless them. That's the way they have to do business. But, the reality of it is those kind of touch points or pain points that they experience. You could be on hold and then they don't know what it's hard for the client maybe to articulate the right questions to ask, like you said, part B, part D or whatnot.
Yeah.
And they end up getting frustrated. And, for the carriers, what I find them saying is, well, I'm going to switch back to what I had, or I don't like this company. And it's not that they won't pay for it. It's that it's not being presented to them the right way. So I always, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, we go meet a client with diabetes. We tell them this is what we're going to do. We mention, that, once the policy is issued, we'll reach out to you and then we'll contact. Well, the way I did it is, contact the client, say, we're going to reach out, and Haley will reach out to you. I just want you to expect your call.
That's
And
perfect.
she's going to help you with boom, 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 boom. Because just like you said, and whether it's life insurance or any product, people ignore their calls. So if you don't tell them someone from this company is going to call to verify information, or someone's going to call you to help you, you need to tell them why they're calling you and what the benefit's going to be to them. But if they know that's going to happen, it makes it much easier. And, when you use words like free, and they're going to handle everything for you, so you're not going to have to worry about that. Most people really, really appreciate that. So I think
They,
it's great.
yeah, they really do. And another awesome benefit, I know you kind of touched on the point of people ignore their calls, and you have to. If I get another call about my car's extended warranty, I am just going to lose it. I mean, the spam calls are off the charts. I've put my name on the do not call list. I've everything I can do, and I get at least 7 a day. I talked to a beneficiary one time. She told me 50 calls a day she got, and
Yeah.
I could not believe it. Right. So another cool thing that we do here is, and a really important reason as to why I want to get connected with the agent first, is once that client is sent over to us and they confirm that they'd like us to reach out to get them connected to their no cost diabetes supplies fully covered under their plan, we will call them and say, "Hi, Ms. Smith, my name is Haley Campbell. I work with your insurance agent, Joe. He asked me to call you so we can start this process and getting your diabetes supplies," so they can connect those dots, right? And that's crucial, not only for the beneficiary to know they're speaking to the right people, they're confirming information with the right and safe people, but also it's an added touch point for the agent to make sure that their clients are staying happy. So just really, really important thing to do, because there's so many spam calls today. It's outrageous. So I can't tell you how many times I've called a beneficiary and I get hung up on, or they yell something at me. And then after I call back, they go, "Hello." And I tell them who I am. And they're like, "I am so sorry. There's just so many spam calls." I'm like, "No, it's okay. I know." So yeah, definitely helpful to just notify your clients that we're going to be calling, but we'll reach out and take care of the rest for them.
Yeah, again, I'm just smiling at it because I get them every day. I didn't get one yet today, but I get the ERC that
Oh yeah.
I might qualify for a $500,000 for all my employees. And I get these every day, and I'm on the same thing. I'm on the do not call list. And,
Yeah.
I actually, when I go out and meet clients, I'll help them go on the do not call list, and they'll still tell me 3 months later, I'm still getting 40 calls a day. And
Yeah.
it's so sad because it really does hurt. I think the clients, and in particular seniors, because they're vulnerable, and you don't want them taken advantage of. And
Yeah.
you know um a lot of times they're missing out on things, or they're being illegally switched out of plans, and it's just I kind of think it's despicable. But
Yeah.
that's a second separate topic.
Yeah.
So um anything else you feel would be beneficial for Medicare folks? And one other question I want to ask you:
Yeah.
does it matter if they're on Medicare, or does it not matter for you guys?
Yeah, so our pharmacy does help all insurances, all ages of people with diabetes supplies. My specialty and where I work is Medicare
Mhm,
Advantage, only because it is so tricky and difficult.
mhm,
There's a little bit more flavor and variety out there when it comes to coverage, when you get to group coverage, employer coverage, ACA, things like that. I can still help. I just can't make the same sweeping statements as I can with Medicare, where I know for sure your meter and strips is going to be fully covered. I know CGMs are either going to look like 80/20 or fully covered. There's a little bit more flavor and variety. Every plan's a bit different, but if you are not on Medicare and you want to
mhm.
see about obtaining your supplies, what I can promise you is that we'll bill it correctly, and whatever copay you are quoted will be correct. And if we can offer additional financial assistance through our pharmacy, if your income qualifies, we will absolutely do so. So
Awesome.
yeah, so we can help anyone.
So you did what I do a lot of times. What's a CGM? Just so the
I'm
folks.
so sorry. I
No,
always
no,
do that.
don't be sorry. I do it all the time. Do not be
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, continuous glucose monitor. So that
Okay.
would be like the Dexcom or the Libre. The sensor that goes either on the back of your arm or your stomach is really great technology. It makes it so you don't have to stick your finger anymore to get your glucose readings. It's a sensor that has a teeny tiny little filament, like a flexible almost filament that sticks out of the center. And it comes with an applicator. You insert it onto your skin, and the sensor itself has adhesive on it. So it sticks to your skin and lasts for either 14 days or 10 days at a time, depending on the brand that you're looking at. Great technology. It is really life changing for a lot of people. I know my grandma got on the device, and she's been Type 2 for quite some time, not insulin dependent, but we were able to get the device for her through her coverage here in California, which looks a little bit different through Kaiser. And she's been able to manage her diabetes so much better now. Instead of having to go on insulin, her hyper and hypoglycemic events are so much well managed, because instead of getting a picture of one point in time with your finger stick, you're getting a map of your entire day. You can see what it did when you woke up, when you had breakfast, when you went for a walk, when you had that glass of orange juice, whatever it is throughout the day. You're getting a roadmap essentially to what your glucose readings do. It really allows you to see, evaluate, make different changes. There's also a wave I've seen online now of people who have started using continuous glucose monitors that don't have diabetes, but just to better manage their health, right? So, and the manufacturers have even mentioned that being something that they're interested in investigating more as well. But it's an incredible device, and something I get calls about every single day, because who wants to prick their fingers anymore, right? Not me. So
Absolutely.
it's amazing technology, and I think ultimately will be the future of diabetes management. I think one day in the future, finger sticks may not even be a thing anymore, but for right now, it's still relatively new to Medicare, which also causes a lot of that confusion on coverage. So please give me a call if you're interested, and we'll facilitate getting you the supplies.
So I want to thank you for joining the podcast today.
Yeah, of course.
Let's give one more opportunity for you. So Haley Campbell, the Advanced Diabetes Supply Group. What's the best contact information for you phone wise?
Yeah, so phone number would be 760-330-0049. That's my direct cell phone number, my work cell phone. And then my email address is H as in Haley, and then Campbell, like the soup, CAMPBELL @northcoastmed.com.
So thank you so much, Haley. I'm so glad you joined us, and I think this information is going to be invaluable for people. So thanks again for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, and looking forward to helping as many people as I can.